So Logan is out. It's been out for 2 weeks now. Hey,
Yes, man.
how's it doing?
It's doing pretty well. The reception has been amazing, man. All I can do is just be thankful and say thank you to everyone who's supporting. Yeah, it's doing pretty good. Still at number one.
Was it pressure for you to name it Logan because you already had an album? Of course, Avery was like, "Yo, guys, what is my son going to say when he grows up and he doesn't have an album dedicated to him?" Was it a bit of pressure for you to make sure that you have Logan as well as an album?
Not really. I have freedom to name my albums whatever I want. I just feel like I want to incorporate my journey of fatherhood as well into my journey of music, because that alone helps me be disciplined, helps me learn responsibility. So yeah, man, I cherish fatherhood as much as I cherish what I do, so I incorporate that with my art and my craft.
Yeah. I was shocked to read that I don't want to say you were an aspiring Kwaito star, but you were actually, that's how you got into business. You loved Kwaito, you got into business because of Kwaito. Tell us about that and how you then decided, man, I actually vibe more with hip hop. Let me do that rather than channel Kwaito.
Well, I grew up, just knowing that, how important it is to just move with the times.
Yeah.
So I sort of like always move with the times from when Kwaito was popping. Like I knew all the hot songs, and when we were starting to get exposed to hip hop, I was like, okay, I can vibe to this.
Yeah.
And then came trap, and then I was like, alright, this is my vibe because I get to be melodic. I get to play with words and flow on beats like I do now. So that was my first love, Kwaito music.
Yeah, I would have never, because whatever you say, there's no Pantsula in you. I see no Pantsula here, so,
For sure.
I would have never ever put the two together, but it makes sense because that's the era most of us grew up in. Kwaito was a huge genre in SA.
Sure.
So it makes sense that you would have, somehow liked Kwaito in some way or the other. Tell us a bit more, Logan. I know that you worked with some of the people that you previously worked with. I think you worked with Ruffster.
Yeah, sure.
There's also another song, an African brother that you worked with there. So I know that these people you've worked with before. Just tell us more about how you incorporated some of the people you wanted to feature in this album.
Well, I sort of have a relationship with, almost everyone that I worked with on the project. If I don't, then I'm working on one because, of the amount of talent and the amount of hard work that, we've managed to, come with this, album. So firstly, I want to shout out all the producers because I have a producer named, for example, PFP is from Malawi. And then I have another producer. He is now currently resides in the UK. So there's J Smash, who's originally from Vanda. So it's a whole lot of, creative minds. And so it wasn't easy, I gotta say. Just because, number one, me having to firstly hear the beats, I didn't know the faces.
Yeah.
At most times, except for my man Ralph, of course.
Yeah.
And Gwamba, who I've worked with before, who's also originally from Malawi. So it was dope. It was dope just having, people from all corners of, the continent and just having to come together like that.
Yeah.
It was a dope experience and learning curve for me. I want to do more, trying to expand on that.
Yeah. I wanted to get real for a moment. You know that besides the wonderful music you've given us over the couple of years, how many years now? I don't even know.
Since 2015.
Since 2015, okay. So it's been long coming, right?
Yeah.
All over those years, there's obviously a couple of controversies that came with your career, and I suppose it's entertainment. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. But what I want to talk about specifically is when did you ever think you were out of control? Was there ever a point where you were like, yeah, maybe I must tone it down. Maybe I am just a tad bit out of control.
Well, for me, it's like I feel like me having to, let go of certain habits was basically just for me to be respected, because it's hard to respect somebody who's always zoned out like that.
Yeah.
And people hardly get like the whole you.
The real you, yeah. They hardly, yeah.
So it's like, for me, I found that as remedy because, and that came as a downside because in this industry we're in, you're supposed to, be social, talk to people, and I'm not that, and I've never been. So there was a downside to it, and there's been a lot of learning curves that I've had, like reality checks.
Sure.
Like being involved in like more than 3-4 accidents, stuff like that. So I felt like, yeah, it's about time I tone it down, and sort of lead by example, like how I always wanted to do as a kid, coming up, watching your idols do this and they do all the positive things. When growing up, that's all you want to do, give back at some point, do positive things and do all the things that I say in the music, because that's really who I am and that's my intention and really what I want to
put out there. That's what you want to be remembered for more than all the mishaps, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But when you look at it, do you think the industry is so geared to that type of lifestyle that by the time you wake up, you're so deep in that you are just like, I can't even tell you when was the first time I had a sip or I had a sniff or I had a joint, but I know that I've been rolling since then.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it's like something I grew up, watching like my older peoples do.
Yeah.
So I feel like where we from is sort of like remedy or an escape. But coming into the real, music business, it's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
And for me, it took a couple of years to sort of like learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose, I mean, the reason I'm asking this question is because when I listened to your first song, Revolutionary,
yeah,
I felt like that was almost a song, I don't want to say dedicated to you, but anybody who could be struggling with whatever they're going through. It doesn't have to be the entertainment industry per se, but to say, there's so much to live for other than the rubbish that you see in front of you, because I think a lot of us get boggled down with all of the nonsense that's happening in front of us, and we forget to appreciate that day that you got.
Definitely. Yeah, man. For me, it was just more of gaining back, the real purpose and making people understand why I do this in the first place.
Yeah.
And I can never knock down, journalists who get stories twisted and stuff like that. They got a job to do. They got people to feed. They probably getting stories wrong from third or fourth parties. So I can never knock any
crucify them for it. Yeah.
So, and growing up and watching, our idols get crucified like that, I always sort of like saw it coming, because after being this achieved artist, there is some sort of tragedy that's gonna come with. And I remember I used to always say, like, I have a feeling something bad is gonna happen.
Oh no.
I've always said it like for years, and people always told me like, nah, I gotta be more positive, because I'm the more positive, bubbly one, within the circle. But sometimes I just get this weird paranoia, and it did happen. Probably worse than I've ever imagined. But I'm cool with it now. I had to go through it to learn it.
But is the paranoia not worse? Because I know that if I have crutches and those crutches are taken away, so I would say, for a lack of a better word, more sobriety for you.
Yeah.
When you are more within yourself now, does the paranoia not like quadruple now? Because your eyes are like this now.
Yeah, it's tricky. I
It's
won't
tricky,
lie.
eh?
Yeah, I won't lie.
Yeah.
It does get that way because hey, I have to adjust now. Having to live without. So it does get tricky, but I try my best.
But you liking the new you, Emtee? Do you? I don't want to say the new you. Do you like this you? Do you like you? Because for us to like you and for us to get that energy from you, you have to like you. Do
Yeah,
you
for
like
sure.
you? Because I remember, who was it? I can't remember which artist, and the artist got sober, and somebody was like, I wonder if he will still write as well. I wonder if he will still be an awesome performer, because in entertainment, people put on these alter egos. When they get onto stage, they are this. They know that I'm not a Logan or Avery's dad. I'm Emtee the hustler. You get this alter egos, and sometimes the substance help you to channel the alter ego. Now that is not there, but the alter ego is still there. Emtee the hustler is still a huge brand, and he still needs to go on stage, and he still needs to satisfy these crowds with almost the same vigor, but just a bit more sober. How's that working out? I mean, that transition must be something.
I won't lie. I won't say I like the new me because it's not really a new me. But I can say I like who I'm becoming.
Okay, good.
CEO, father of two,
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have those kind of things, and I want to do more. More than just that, and I just want to be, a well-renowned human being at the end of the day. Because back then, it was just show up to a show, show up to an interview, do the job, and then go back to
ticking boxes and moving on.
Yeah. So now, it's a lot to consider, especially now that I'm a CEO of a record label. I gotta watch how I move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that everybody that works within that record label
For sure.
actually respects you for the CEO title,
For
and it's
sure.
not just because you are Emtee. How's the record label coming?
I won't lie, it's coming through, slowly but surely.
Sure.
There's light, there's a hope. And so I'm building, got my little brother who's my DJ, sort of keeping it in the family. I got my wife who's doing, a lot of my, personal assistant stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gets it done. And, we keep in the circle small. I got an artist whose name is Flash from King Williamstown in the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's killing it. I also got Elite Nites from Cape Town. He's killing it as well. Growing by the day. So that alone just lets me know that, hey, you're actually doing something.
Yeah.
So you got to carry yourself a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to achieve? And I know, because a lot of you guys, you set up record labels, or at least companies, so that you have more of distribution deals and partnership, more than people owning everything, right?
Yeah.
And this is your first project out of Ambitious, hey?
For sure.
Yeah. So I can imagine that is channeling. But then, of course, if you've got all these other talents, then there is also another overseeing role that you need to play. But what are you trying to build? Because even as Emtee, I would like to believe that you're still growing and that you're still going somewhere with your music career. And then you have all these other people also that are looking forward to growth. What exactly are you trying to build with this record label?
Basically an avenue, a bridge between big artists, small artists. Because believe it or not, I still record like in the hood, like in the roughest of the mall. I don't do that because I'm brave or anything. I feel like
you need to be brave to go to the hood. Really, Emtee? The hood is not so bad. Come on.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's the point I'm trying to put across. Is that I don't go there because I'm brave. I go there because there's love.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Because there's love, and I feel safer. I always say this. I feel safer, like in Joburg. I feel safer in the hood, Soweto, Eastman, whatever. That's weird to a lot of kids in the north, but like, that's where I sort of like see my younger self again. Like,
Yeah.
I was once in these streets doing this and that.
Yeah. And your team members, everybody gets the vision, because, you know, every time an artist breaks up with a record label, whether it's major or not, the biggest thing is always artistic differences. Because you might have a vision, and Nicole might have a vision, and somebody else might have a vision, and all those visions are so far apart that they don't serve the initial vision of the record label.
Sure.
Would you say that you guys know what the vision is, and you guys are on board with where we're going? Like that bridge you're talking about, because I think that's awesome, you know, having a bridge between big artists and small artists. Is everybody on board? Do they see the same vision that you see?
Most definitely, you know, because everything that you see, you know, happening is a team effort.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only just me going into studio and calling the shots, you know. After the song is done, then, you know, I give the job to the rest of the team to sort of like source out what they can do with the product. So my job is still making the music, you know. They come to me and I just, you know, make decisions according to what the whole team thinks, really.
Yeah.
Because it's a collective, you know, effort at the end of the day. So I can say the vision is clear now, you know, and the purpose also is getting clearer.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So now you look back since 2015 to now. There's been so much career-wise. There's been so much personally. I mean, there was a time you even spoke of abuse. You spoke of you wanting to get clean. You spoke about you wanting to leave Ambitious. And I think a lot of people thought, please, Emtee is not going to do that. I mean, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people did, you know, because you look like the prodigal child for Ambitious Entertainment. And it would have been, I don't know, I don't think anybody anticipated what that Emtee would be like. And I'm trying to see how much of it is channeled into this album now, Logan, you know, knowing that the essence of Emtee remains, whether he's with Ambitious or any other record label, that essence must remain. And I mean, my tech producer was asking me, now, have you listened to Logan? I was like, yeah, I actually listened quite intently. And he said to me, is it still Emtee? That was his question. Is it still Emtee? And I'm like, okay, the Emtee I've consumed, it seems like it's still him.
Yeah.
But to get that essence moving from all these different spaces, personal life looking like it might be falling apart, you feeling like you are falling apart, your record label's relationship falling apart, how did you channel your essence to make sure that it is able to come through when you look at your project or finished project that is Logan?
Well, you know, during me making the project, you know, a lot was happening. Corona hit. A lot of things were happening in my personal life, and every time I got back to the studio, no matter what, you know, I always remember to make the song according to how it's supposed to sound, regardless of how I feel. And so that's always been my thing ever since a kid, because I recorded my first song when I was 13.
Sure.
And I never stopped. So religiously, I've just been recording whatever I'm going through. So every time I go back in the studio, keep that same energy, you know, regardless of what's happening in my personal life. And that's not easy, I won't lie, but sometimes I sort of, you know, give myself a reality check and leave room for disappointment and just be real with myself. I do that a lot now, you know. It's no more being in a fantasy and whatever. It's just being realistic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think is going to continue keeping you grounded? Because I think a lot of people would be like, we don't want to lose this Emtee. You know, you feel, sound, look reachable, you know, because I think there was a time, even all of us in the entertainment industry, we were just like, nobody can reach Emtee. You know, Emtee is living Emtee's life. He don't care what you think of him. And I mean, even Logan, if I'm now thinking back, a lot of the songs talk about reaffirmation of yourself, reaffirming who you are, how you are just not riding the wave. I think there's a song called Wave in the album. You are just not riding the wave. You're not just here for shows. You know, you are here to make sure that your voice is heard, and it's heard how you want to talk, not how we want to talk. But I think I don't want to say the previous Emtee, but the Emtee before Logan, we were all worried because I think we can all agree that we've seen the talent that is in you. I think that is not something we can deny, whether you are sober or not. I think that's something we can't deny you, you know. But when we look at it and we look how reachable you are, how we can touch you. I mean, look at how cute he looks. Doesn't he look cute? He looks cute, man. You know, how reachable you are. How do we keep you here? How do you want to keep yourself here? How are you making sure that you stay grounded and you actually keep yourself at a point where you like who you are, you like how people see you, and you like what your son or what your wife or your sons and your wife and everybody around are seeing Kawena?
Well, you know, my plan is to, you know, keep it here for real, you know, because number one, it's a lot at stake. You know, growing up, I always wanted to lead the right way, the positive way, you know, and the message is not clear if you're saying, hey, chase your dream in the music, respect your parents, do the right. But, you know, there's parts of you that are not doing the right. You know, so I always sort of like give myself that reality check that, hey, be the change you want to see, you know. All these quotes sort of come back to my mind. All these quotes I was reading growing up before indulging, you know, in any of these things where I was focused, hungry. So I take my mind back to that, you know, because there was a time in my life where I was actually focused, you know, sleeping in the booth, you know, doing the right things, you know. And so I always take my mind back to that and you know, look at my sons as, you know, like, hey, got two lives that are looking up to you, like, you know, for everything, inspiration, how to dress, how to talk.
Food to eat,
you know,
money to go to school. That's a lot.
You know, so I gotta, you know, lead the right way, and it starts at home.
Yeah, it always does, doesn't it? It really, really always does. And I think one of the other reasons we wanted you, of course, was to speak to Logan, but we also wanted to make sure that you know that, you know, SA still loves you very much, even through all of everything that happened. I think some of it was concern. Yeah, of course, there will be malice. That's entertainment. There'll be malice, you know. But above all, we want to see Logan doing well, the album, and of course, and your kids. I mean, we want to see everything coming together, and a musician that we can put forward. You know, when we export talent, we want talent that we know that it doesn't matter where they are. You know, they are representing. You know, and I think some of the frustration that was happening in the entertainment industries is exactly that. And that leads me now to probably my final question. Would you say you have some form of life spiritual guidance, or even, what do you call them, psychiatrists, counselors, to work through it? You know, there's a lady I interviewed not so long ago, and she was, I think it was Nadia Nakai, and she was talking about that, and she was saying, I need that because the industry sometimes gets so volatile, you know. And sometimes even the person you trust as your soundboard, you're like, but you are with me in this mess, you know. So let me just stand back, go to a person who has nothing to do with anything, you know, and maybe can just give me a very objective picture. Are you dabbling in things like that are guidance, becoming a better you as you grow up, as you grow into being this family man who's a recording artist?
Well, you know, I'm sort of disappointed in myself because I haven't been doing a lot of praying. But I do pray, you know, before we go to a show, backstage. But I feel like I can do more, you know. But at the same time, I feel like for me to speak to God, have a conversation with God, I gotta be whole within, you know. You know, before I was hardly in my right mind, you know, and what I was always praying for was safety. That here I'm doing this. I pray. That
I get home safe.
What I'm doing is bad, but I pray everything goes well. Sometimes it didn't. But now that I've went through different phases, I feel like I gotta work on myself first. So I'm doing a lot of watching what I eat, having a lot more liquids,
like some soft cleansing situation.
Yeah. So because I've had a lot of, as I said, car accidents. Therefore, in between, I sort of had times where I was out, sort of just not functioning, just at the crib, healing, because I was out of my mind and injured myself, So now less of that is happening.
Good.
And I feel like I can start tapping in now, on my relationship with the Almighty.
Yeah.
I am a spiritual person. Okay, I won't lie. I feel like that's the only power that's there.
Yeah.
There's only one God. So that's my spiritual being that I'm trying to mend. But overall, I am a spiritual person. It's just hard for me to pass it on or teach it because I feel like it's personal. But working on that as well.
I mean, a spiritual journey is always personal, and without preaching, because I'm not a preacher, far from it. Have you seen a preacher with orange hair? That doesn't happen. But with everything that you've said, you say because I'm not a whole, I'm not tapping into it. So the only thing I will say in that regard, because like you said, spirituality is a very personal journey. There's no such thing. You're always whole. You could be injured, you could be limping, you could be whatever. But, Emtee would never be not whole. It never exists. It doesn't happen that way. So don't be scared to tap in, no matter how injured you feel, And you've got a great support system, so,
For sure.
Which is amazing for you, Hold hands, pray, even if you don't believe the prayer. You say it, by the sixth time you say it, you start believing the prayer. I guess that's what they say. You repeat something often enough, it starts becoming the truth. That's why they say, don't curse your kids, don't curse a person, don't do that. Because the more you believe in it, the more you say it, the more you start believing it. So we really do, really, really wish you all the best. We can't wait to see, because all your other albums really did well, so we can't wait to see what Logan does. Are there any visuals coming out? Are there visuals out with the album at all?
Yeah, definitely. We're in the process of that right now. Trying to shoot as many videos as we can.
It's 16 tracks. Don't kill us, okay? Okay.
Yeah. So we're in the process of that. Talking to directors, all of that. So people can expect all the visuals to their favorite songs. I know their favorite songs by now.
Which are? Tell me.
The first one gotta be The Long Way, which is
The
on
Long
the
Way
album.
is definitely. It's a nice romantic song, definitely. Yeah.
Uzoimela featuring Kgomotso. Yeah, because that song is tapping in Africa. Which other one? Some Sokolo with Muesli.
Okay, the quite the one, yeah.
So I sort of have an idea. So we are gonna shoot for all those songs.
Okay, no, super. Thank you so much for taking time out. I'm glad you didn't stand me up this time. I'm really happy. No problem. Really, no worries. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Super.
Bless.